Arguably the greatest Mussar sefer written in the past 500 years is the Mesilas Yesharim. The Vilna Gaon said he would go by foot all the way, miles and miles to Amsterdam to learn by the Ramchal if he were alive in his day. And it is considered the most definitive, most clear understanding of why Hashem created us, what's life about, what our direction is supposed to be in this world. And the Mesilas Yesharim opens up with one fundamental line. He says, Yesod HaChasidus v'Shorish Avoda Tamima. The foundation, the root, the bedrock of everything that we do as Jews has to be one understanding. Why did Hashem create us? What's life about? What are we doing here in this planet? And the Mesilas Yesharim explains, Hashem is the Meitiv, Hashem is the ultimate giver. Hashem wants to share of His good with others, and Hashem created everything that exists strictly to give to man. We were put into this world to grow, to accomplish, but this isn't the purpose, this isn't the end-all and be-all. This is the place where we work, we grow, we reach our level of perfection, and when we're done our job here, I leave this earth, I go to the world to come, and that's where I enjoy forever what I accomplished in this world. Two worlds, this world, the world to come. This world is the place we grow, we accomplish, change the essence of me. The world to come is the place where I enjoy it. But here's the question. The Mesilas Yesharim doesn't say that this is an important concept. He doesn't say that this is one of the 13 tenets of faith, Yud Gimel Ikrim. It's much more than that. It's the foundation, it's the underpinning, it's the bedrock of everything that we do. As if to say, if you don't get this, if you don't understand this, you're not really practicing the religion. Something similar to Judaism, something close, but this is the underpinnings, this is the foundation of everything that we do. So here's the question. Why is this so basic? Why is the world to come so fundamental? Let's say I wasn't aware of it. Let's say I didn't focus on that. I know that Hashem wants me to keep the Torah. I keep all the mitzvahs. I keep everything the Torah says. But I don't know that Hashem created us for the world to come. I don't know that's why Hashem put me on the planet. I missed that class. What would be lacking, and what would be so fundamentally lacking, that the Mesilas Yesharim seems to imply that we wouldn't even be practicing the religion? And I believe that there are a number of reasons why this is in fact the very root, the foundation of everything that we do. And let's begin with the first reason. If a person doesn't understand that I'm here to grow and accomplish, and that there's a world to come, the very first thing a person will not understand is the Torah, the mitzvahs in the Torah. Let me give you for instance. Take a nice kosher steak. Eat it, make a bracha before you do it, you're fine, you're good. Another occasion, take a nice cool glass of milk, make a bracha, drink it, you're fine and well. Take those two together, cook them, blammo. It's forbidden. Why? The meat's kosher, the milk's kosher. What's the problem? Why is basar v'chalav forbidden? Here's another one. Wool coat, wonderful, keeps you warm, it's nice, it's fine. Linen coat, fine and well. Mix wool with cotton, fine. Linen with cotton, fine. Wool and linen, no good. It's a losase, forbidden. Why? And if you search through the Torah, it's true you'll understand some mitzvahs. I guess character trait development, ben adam l'chaveru, between man and his fellow man, they'll make sense. But a full half of the Torah you will not get. It'll make no sense whatsoever. However, once you understand one perspective, then everything takes on a whole different light. Let me share with you that perspective. Every once in a while, you hear somebody say something like, it was so strange, it was Shabbos, or it was Rosh Hashanah, and I had this spiritual experience. I mean, here, it's so strange, because here I am, this physical entity, and temporarily having this spiritual experience. Nothing could be further from the truth. Whether it's Shabbos, whether it's Yom Kippur, whether it's a weekday, you are not a physical entity temporarily having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual entity temporarily having a physical experience. You see, before I was in this body, I was under the throne of glory. Hashem took me, the neshama, put me into a particular family, into a particular body, and said, this is your life. Lead that life. Accomplish, grow, reach the heights that you can. But I'm the guy inside. When I'm done my job, the body's put in the ground, and I separate. But you see, I'm not the body. I'm not the arms, the legs, the head, the chest. I'm the one inside, and I am completely spiritual. My body is physical. I am the one who thinks. I'm the one who feels. I am not the body, and I am utterly, completely spiritual. And once you understand that, you're now in the ballpark of understanding the Torah. It is true that meat and milk cooked together probably isn't dangerous to my health, and probably won't increase my longevity in any natural sense. But you have to understand, Hashem did not give us the Torah merely as a guidebook for healthy living. The Torah is the ultimate guidebook of spiritual perfection. It teaches us, it guides us, it molds us in becoming the great human beings we can be. But it's me, the spiritual part, not the physical. And once you understand that, you're in the ballpark of understanding the mitzvahs. It may take a while, and not every mitzvah is clear and obvious, but once you understand that I am spiritual, then you understand that the Torah is the system of spiritual perfection, and then you could learn and understand why, in fact, Basa b'chalav damages you, how, in fact, shatnez won't allow you to reach your potential. But until you get that step, until you understand that I'm spiritual, nothing makes sense. Once I understand there's a world to come, once I understand that I'm put into this body for a few short years, I'm temporarily having a physical experience, then you could go to the Torah, understand, begin opening your eyes to understand what in fact the Torah wants from us, how it helps us grow. You're beginning at least to understand the Torah. So without the world to come, the first thing you want to understand is the Torah, mitzvahs, anything involved in it. But there are other things you also won't understand. And let's start with the second one. Hashem has no limits. Hashem has no physicality, no corporeality. That means to say no limits in any physical sense. And because of that, one of the problems that you and I should have is we should have no ability to recognize Hashem, relate to Hashem, define Hashem. Anything that I understand is based on its limits. A tree is tall. Oh, it's a tall tree because it's 150 feet tall. But Hashem is not tall. Hashem is infinite. An elephant is heavy. It weighs far more than does a giraffe. 14,000 pounds is heavy. Because of the limits of the elephant, I recognize the elephant. But Hashem is boundless, limitless, beyond any human recognition, beyond any human definition. Hashem is everywhere at the same time and nowhere because Hashem has no limitation. So therefore, how could I relate to something that's so outside of my frame of reference? How could I relate to Hashem? How could I understand Hashem at any level? And the Rishonim explained to us that Hashem wants us to recognize Hashem. Hashem wants us to have a relationship with Hashem as much as we can. Hashem wants us to serve Him, obviously. And the way that we understand Hashem as much as we can is by the way that Hashem manifests Himself in this world. And by studying the way Hashem shows Himself in this world, that's how we see the Creator. When I look at the vastness, the complexity, the harmonious systems in nature, I see my Creator. When I see Hashem running the world and orchestrating the world, I see the nature of Hashem as Hashem shows Himself in this world. The Chovos HaLevavos explains to us that if you'd like to understand the midah, the trait with which Hashem created the world and runs the world, he explains, take the most merciful, kindly, loving human being you could ever imagine. Imagine a human being whose heart just overflows with compassion, with giving kindness, with love. Take that love, multiply it 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 times, and you don't begin to have a small little iota of an understanding of the almost infinite love that Hashem has for any one of his creations. Any understanding of love that we have is in a limited fashion human love. Hashem's love is infinite, and any compassion, any mercy, any love that we've ever experienced pales by dramatic expanse compared to Hashem. There is almost no comparison. And we're supposed to recognize that. We're supposed to see the love, the kindliness of Hashem by studying this world. Well, here's the problem. If you look about the world we live in, there's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. There are orphans and widows, and there's divorce, there's sickness. There are a lot of rough spots in this thing called life. And if I don't understand the world to come, I should look at this world and say, I don't know, it doesn't seem that God is very kindly. There are headaches. There are migraines. There's cancer. There are people racked in pain, whether it be physical or emotional. If Hashem is so loving, so kindly, so giving, why create pain? Why create suffering? And if I don't understand the world to come, I have no clue to answering this. But not just that I don't have a clue, there is no answer. If Hashem created us for this world and this world only, explains Mussar Sharm, Hashem did a horrible job, a terrible job, because there are so many features in this world that shouldn't be there, serve man no benefit whatsoever. And explains Mussar Sharm, if a thinking person will look at this world, immediately he'll understand that it's impossible that Hashem created us for this world, because this world will make no sense. But once a person has a world to come perspective, then all of these questions take on a whole different light. And as a mushal, a parable, to understand this, imagine the following. Imagine that you're invited to a very exclusive health club. You've never been there, but you know the basic layout. On the right side is the gym, and the left side is a spa. The gym has all the equipment that you need to get in shape, the Nautilus, the treadmill, everything you need to get yourself buff. The other side, the spa, has a steam room, the sauna, massage table, everything you need to just relax. In any case, it's been a very stressful week, and you decide that you're heading right to the spa. But when you walk into the health club by mistake, instead of turning left, you turn right, and you find yourself in this room with all these red-faced people grunting and sweating. What is all this equipment? I mean, whoever designed this spa did a terrible job. Explains Mussar Sharm, there's this world and the world to come. This world is the gym. We were put into this world to grow, to accomplish, to be challenged, to change the essence of me. When I'm done my job here, when I've reached whatever level of perfection I'm capable of, I leave this earth, and then forever I go to the spa, and forever I enjoy what I accomplished. But two worlds, each with its plan, each with its purpose. This is the gym, the world to come is the spa. Once you understand that, you look at life with vastly different eyes. There will be many situations in life that will be difficult, that will be painful. And many situations in life you will have to make a choice. You will either transcend, rise above it, or shrivel up, but choose you must. There's no auditing the class, no sitting on the sidelines, and many situations that you're going to go through are specifically handcrafted to help you grow, help you become a different human being, not to help your biceps become bigger, not to help your cardiovascular system, but to change the essence of you into a more giving, more kindly, more humble, more loving individual, to be more like Hashem. And once you understand that there's this world and the world to come, life itself fundamentally makes sense. You may not know the answer to every situation, but the question doesn't really begin, because we're not rated by how much money we have, how comfortable our settings were in this world. This is the gym. We're here for a plan, here for a purpose, here to grow. And when I'm done my job, I enjoy forever what is waiting for me. But once I understand the world to come, then I could look at this world and see the mercy, the kindliness, the love that Hashem manifests in this world. And I can understand that everything that Hashem created and everything that Hashem does is for the best. I may not recognize the why behind it now. I may not wish to be in this situation, but I know that my Creator is far wiser than I. I know that my Creator has my best interests at heart. And if you'd like to understand it in a parable, in a mushal form, imagine a mother who walks her 6-year-old for the second chemo treatment. The 6-year-old holds the mother's hand. The 6-year-old already went through one chemo treatment, and she knows what it means to be nauseous for days on end. She knows what it means to start losing her hair. She knows that this is a very, very painful experience. But she takes her mother's hand with full confidence. Mommy loves me. Mommy knows better than I. When I recognize the purpose in creation, I recognize I may not know the why and I may not be happy with it, but Hashem is far wiser than I. Hashem is guiding me. Everything that Hashem does is for the best. And I go with a confidence. I go with a tremendous amount of trust. And I can see the mercy, the kindliness, the love that Hashem manifests in this world. With the world to come, I could recognize Hashem as Hashem manifests Himself. If I don't get the world to come, I cannot relate to Hashem. I cannot understand Hashem. If I don't see the world to come, number one, I won't understand the mitzvahs in the Torah. I won't understand spiritual growth because I won't recognize myself as spiritual. But number two, I won't recognize Hashem because I'll see a world of bitterness, of poverty, of pain, and I'll never understand Hashem on any level. However, there's another reason why we need to see Olam Haba right in front of us. And there's another area that we'll never understand until we really focus on the world to come. A number of years ago, I was speaking to a young man, and he said to me that he was brought up in a secular home. And when he got to college, he began thinking about life, and he had a question that was plaguing him. He asked everyone he could, any man of learning, any person of intelligence. He asked this question. He asked it to college professors. And he asked it to anyone he could find, and he couldn't find an answer. The question was, why have a kid? Why have children? But not in a selfish sort of, they're expensive and they take away my freedom sort of way. Much more fundamental. Why have a kid when it's really not nice to the child? There's so much pain in the world and so much suffering. Why do that to an innocent baby? Just because you want a child, you want to have somebody to play with? Why do it to the kid? It's not fair. It's not right. Why have a child? And he explained that he asked this question to everyone and he couldn't find an answer. So I said to him, I hear, and there are two answers to your question. There's a wrong answer and a right answer. Because it was Friday night and he was at my Shabbos table, I asked him which one he wanted to hear first. He said he didn't care which one. So I told him, fine. Let me tell you the wrong answer first. Here's the wrong answer. How good is Hashem at doing that which Hashem does? A fair question. How good is Hashem at doing that which Hashem does? So if you're not sure the answer to this question, just look out at the world. You'll see harmonious systems. You'll see complexities upon complexity. Open a science textbook. Open a physics textbook. Open a biology textbook. You'll see a world replete with wonder. When you look at a tree, when you look at an ocean, when you look at the sun, the stars, the moon, you see that God is very competent. God is very capable, and God is very good at doing that which God does. And with that being said, here's an observation. What would it be like if God created a world for one purpose? Imagine that God were to create a world for one purpose and one purpose only, and that purpose is for you to have pleasure. Now, God is very good at doing what He does. He's very capable. Imagine He created a world with just one purpose, for you to have unending pleasure. Could you imagine what life would be like there? Whiffs upon whiffs, flavors within flavors of unending, unstopping pleasure. And you don't get tired, you don't get fatigued, just unending pleasure. And I explained to this young man that Hashem did create such a world. That's the world to come. This world is the gym. The world to come was created for a very specific purpose. This world was created to grow, to challenge us, to allow us to reach our potential. The world to come was created for one purpose, to allow us to enjoy that ultimate reward. And it's maybe true that you'll suffer in this world. But how long is it? 70 years, 90 years, 120? But then it's over. And for eternity, you enjoy unending, unmitigated pleasure. So I said to this young man, if you suffer here for a few short years, it's so worth it for the world to come. And I said to him that this is the wrong answer. Absolutely the wrong answer to your question. It happens to be true, and it is worth suffering. It's worth suffering tremendous pain because Hashem is very good at doing what he does, and the world to come is so infinitely pleasurable that it's worth it, but that's the wrong answer to your question. I asked him, would you like to hear the right answer to your question? At that point, I think I had him curious, and then he said, yes, I would like to hear the right answer. I said to him, the right answer to the question is that when you understand life, when you understand why you're here, there's an inner joy, an inner happiness, and life itself is beautiful. When you don't understand life, when you live your life for any purpose other than that which your Creator put you on the planet for, you're going to be unhappy, unfulfilled. You're going to feel an emptiness at the core of your essence, and life itself stinks. But why does it stink? Because you and you are not in harmony. You were created for a purpose. You were created to grow, to accomplish. You were created for a very specific purpose. And if you live your life in accordance to that, there's an inner peace, a joy, a harmony. But if you live your life for any other reason, there's an inner emptiness. It's sort of like taking a fine surgical instrument and using it to pry open a window. It does a lousy job and it dulls the blade. Hashem created you to grow, to accomplish. Hashem gave you a Torah as the rule book, the guidebook. When you live your life in sync with that, there's an inner joy, there's an inner happiness. It's true that there are moments in life that are not so pleasant. There's pain, there's suffering. But if you're living your life properly, there's an inner joy. You see, Hashem wants us to enjoy our stay on this planet here. It's not the purpose, it's not the end-all and the be-all, but Hashem is a meitiv, Hashem is a giver. And Hashem created so many features in this world strictly for us to enjoy. But to do that, you have to be at peace with yourself. When you're growing, when you're accomplishing, there's an inner sense of joy and happiness. And with that, you look at the sun rising in the morning and you say, wow, to be alive. So if you find me people who cannot answer this question, why bring a child into this world? It's because you're right. In their world, life stinks and it's not worth it. But if you understood life and you were using it properly, this world here would be replete with joy, with happiness. You'd be loving life. Again, it's not the reason Hashem created us, but Hashem wants us to enjoy, and there is an internal love of life. And if you want to know why to bring a child into the world, it's because Hashem wants that to be, but your child won't suffer provided you guide your child properly. But of course, if you don't, who knows? And so in fact, the third reason why if a person doesn't understand the world to come, he's going to be lost is because he won't understand himself. He'll never be happy. If you don't understand why you're created, you're never going to be able to do what you created you to do. And you are going to be in disharmony. And guess what? You're going to be empty at the core of your essence, and all the money, all the luxuries, everything that you might have is going to leave you empty. So if you don't understand the world to come, number one, you won't understand the Torah. Number two, you won't understand Hashem. Number three, you'll never understand yourself, and you'll never be happy. But there's a fourth reason. And there's a fourth reason that's arguably more important than the first three. If you don't recognize the world to come as the reason for our being here, and you don't focus on that, there's something so fundamental that will be lacking from your existence. And to share that with you, let me share with you an observation. I was a high school Rebbe for many years, and I would teach 11th graders. These fellows were 16, 17 years of age, came from families. And a big part of my job as a Rebbe was obviously to teach the fellows how to learn. But maybe a bigger part of it was to teach them how to live, to teach them about life. And I designed a Mussar sort of curriculum, and every year I would begin it. And every year I would typically begin with one single question. I would look at these fellows and I would say, gentlemen, tell me something. Why don't you sin? Why don't you sin? But I don't mean little sins. I mean big deal stuff, murder, pillage, why don't you do really major sins? Now, these are good fellows, and they would say, Rebbe, come on, Hashem will be angry with me. I don't want Hashem to be angry. At which point I would say, fellas, listen up. Throughout the thousands of years of mankind's existence, there have been many wicked people, and they've flourished. They've done quite well. Don't worry about Hashem. Do what you want. Why should you work hard? Don't worry about it. At which point the fellows, at least a number would say, yeah, that's true now, but my neshama is going to burn. I don't want my neshama to burn. At which point I would say to the fellow, aha, you're telling me that there are many things you're going to do and many things that you're not going to do, all for the sake of your neshama? You listen to me. You do what you want. Do exactly what you want. Why should you work hard so your neshama should have a good time in the world to come? You take care of you and let your neshama burn. Now, I would always say that standing by the door. No one was allowed to leave before I said the answer. But what is the answer to this question? And Rabbi Shafier explains that we make one fundamental mistake. We think of death as something like, I don't know, blackness, being asleep. Who can know what death is like? And explains Rabbi Shafier, you're making a fundamental error, probably the biggest error of your life. If you'd like to understand death, it's quite simple. Imagine I walk in the room and I take off my coat. I walk in, I am in the room, and explains Rabbi Shafier, that is death. The body is the coat. I take the coat off and I separate, but it's me, the guy inside, the one who thinks, the one who feels, the same me who wakes up in the morning, the same me who goes to sleep at night, the one inside, leave this body, and forever I am what I shape myself into. Would you like to know why the world to come is relevant? Because if it's not, why keep the Torah? If you think, well, Hashem is going to punish me, don't worry about it. Again, many wicked people have done right. It's true, you're right. You'll probably have a better time in this world, and Hashem takes care of people who keep the mitzvahs. You're right, but it's not going to get you out of bed in the morning, and it's not going to drive you, and it's not going to motivate you. The fourth reason why Olam Haba, the world to come, is so foundational to everything we do is because it's a single greatest motivating force. At the end of the day, all of us are motivated by self-interest. That's the way my Creator made me. I would like to be other-centered. I'd like to do things because Hashem told me to do it and because it's the right thing. Fine. But right now, my name is not Avram Avinu. I am a human being. And where I am right now, if it's in my interest and my benefit, I'm going to do it. And more than that, if it greatly impacts me and greatly affects me, I'm going to do it even more. There is no single thing in the world that will affect you forever as much as understanding that you were put on the planet to grow, to accomplish, and forever you'll be who you are in the world to come. But you see, that concept is the single greatest motivating force. If a person doesn't have the world to come in front of them, if it's not a part of their operating day, number one, nothing in the Torah makes sense. The mitzvahs are whatever. Okay, some of the mitzvahs, chesed, tzedakah, I get it. Some of them make sense. But a full half of the Torah, and certainly learning Torah makes no sense, and certainly so much emphasis on things that really don't benefit my body in any sense. But once I understand that I'm the guy inside, I'm spiritual, and the Torah is the system, the guidebook of spiritual self-perfection, now I'm in the ballpark of understanding the answer. Now let me learn. Let me see, how is it that basar v'chalav, meat and milk cooked together, damages me? How is it that shatnez affects me? But if I don't recognize that I'm a spiritual entity, If I think of myself as a physical entity, every once in a while having spiritual experiences, well, guess what? The Torah is not relevant, and it sure won't make sense. Number two, I'll never understand Hashem. I'll look at a world and I'll see suffering, and there is suffering, and there is pain, and there are orphans and widows, and I'm supposed to feel that pain. And if I don't understand the world to come, how could I relate to the fact that Hashem orchestrates every activity on the planet? One of the basics of our Amunah system is knowing that Hashem is intimately involved in running of the world, everything that happens. And how can I make sense of pain, of suffering? But not just pain and suffering, clearly designed, orchestrated pain, where I see the hand of Hashem bringing the person to that situation. When I understand the world to come, it fits into a pattern. I get it. There'll be many situations that are strictly for my growth, not here, but to change the essence of me, to challenge me in different ways, and I get it. But if I don't see the world to come clearly in front of me, I won't understand it. And the world that I live in screams out that the Creator is cruel, mean, indifferent, but surely I'll never understand Hashem. I won't understand the Torah, I won't understand Hashem. And the third element that I'll never understand is I'll never understand me. I'll never understand the complexity of me. I'll never understand why sometimes I'm so into things and sometimes I'm not. And sometimes I'm talking to my Creator right here in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and some days I just don't care. How do I understand me? How do I make sense of my anger, my jealousy, how do I understand, how do I relate to me? And more than anything, how do I understand what I need to be happy, to be fundamentally joy-filled, to have a sense of life, of loving life, of being alive? And if I don't understand the world to come, I don't understand growth, I don't understand what I'm here for, I'm surely not growing, and guess what? In that case, life stinks and bleh. But the minute I understand the world to come, and the minute I understand that the mitzvahs are designed by Hashem to help me grow, and I put my life on track, I start changing, I start growing, I reach an inner sense of peace. Life still has moments that are not so pleasant. That's part of life. But at the core of my essence, there's joy and there's happiness. And more than anything, when I see the world to come in front of me, I wake up in the morning with drive, with energy. Let's go! 24 hours to change myself and change the very world I live in. And I am hugely motivated to keep every mitzvah. It's understanding the Torah, understanding Hashem, understanding me, and it's the greatest motivator, but you have to dwell on it, you have to think on it. It's the foundation of everything we do. It's the bedrock, but it requires an awful lot of thought, an awful lot of contemplating.